Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this presentation of the Hoops League on Hoops League TV. I'm league commentator and commissioner of the league, Cyclops Inc. I'm joined here by Joey B., otherwise known as Joey Bass, the point guard for the St. Louis Archers, and Caleb White, or Salty Shades, on the Atlanta Activists. As we see an Eastern Conference rivalry matchup for our Saturday night showcase between the Chicago Blues and the Boston Charms. This rivalry dating back to Season 1, Salty. 6 conference finals appearances for the both of these teams. They've both made the finals 3 times. Can you share a little bit, a couple words about the impact of this rivalry on the league?
I definitely have to say this is one of the rivalries that everyone knows about and everyone can just get into their mind immediately because these guys have lots of history, many battles, many wars. They've still generally equal, but they've still got some beef with one another.
For sure. Well, they may be a little bit out of their heyday at this point, though. Chicago, well, they made the conference finals last season. Everybody consensus is that they're a team in decline, and Boston only missing the conference finals for the first time in their franchise history last season. Joey, would you say that either of Chicago or Boston are real contenders for a title anymore, or even both?
Uh, you know, I definitely feel like both. Both are contenders. I mean, they've shown easily that they're the best teams in the league. At moments, of course. I mean, like I always say, teams tend to have struggles. I mean, my team, we were blasting last season. Now, not starting off too good, but we're there. So I definitely feel like any team can always win. Not all the teams, of course, in the league, but a few of them, yeah.
It is definitely a wide open race this season. Um, Boston coming off a victory against the Atlanta Activists, where they put up 77 to 67. Four players in double digits. Preston Manu had 14 off the bench. Garcia and Rose also had 14. Jordan Covington with 18 points. Meanwhile, Chicago coming off a loss against the LA Stars. They took it home. Bruyuk Massacard for LA had 22 points off the bench against his former team. So on that note with bench play, Caleb, would you say Chicago or Boston has the better bench of the two teams in this game?
I would have to say that Boston has the better bench. There's still some veterans out there, some younger guys. They've generally got the good everything you want to look for any bench. They have it. They might not have the complete star power of it, but they are still a hefty unit.
Definitely a very solid team without the star power. Well, it doesn't get much bigger than the star power in this game with Walter Jensen, one of the consensus best, if not the outright best players in league history. Joey, I know you have a relationship with Walter. Talk some about his impact on the league and your career.
Oh yeah. When I first came into the league, a lot of people looked down on me. They thought I was a bad pick. Actually, they thought I was a bad pick. I believe some people thought I was a bad pick. And Walter was just always constantly supporting me. I love the guy. He definitely, in my book, is the GOAT. He is basically like every player that, like, when they make their history, right, they want to kind of be like him. So I definitely think he started off a lot of things. Definitely a GOAT.
35-year-old superstar guard, a trendsetter, and really shaping the generation of HLA players. He's still shaping the league right now with Chicago. 4-2, both of these teams heading into this game as we're about to get started here. See if Jensen and the Blues have some gas left in the tank, or if the Charms will be able to take this important Eastern Conference matchup. Quick look at the starting lineups. It's Zane Cruz and Walter Jensen in the backcourt. Samuel James, the former San Francisco Quake star, is joined by Shaka Zulu at the 4, and with James at the 3, and it's Jaga C serving the role as the man in the middle. And for Boston, it's Jason Garcia and Jordan Covington, the J backcourt duo. Tone Show is at the 3 with Big Pippy at the 4, and it's Elijah Rose playing center. As we get the action started here, Boston and Chicago. It doesn't get any better than this for a rivalry game, Saturday night Hoops League action. Boston off the tip, Garcia will knock down the opening jumper. At the other end, it's Zane Cruz, gonna yank on a deep 3, and that's no good. Rebound out to Covington. Covington kicks out. Pippi gets a screen, takes a three. No. Rebound there to Samuel James. Jensen with it, the 15-year veteran, able to knock down that one from the wing. Garcia at the other end for Boston. Takes and makes a three. Jason Garcia with 5 quick points to start this game. Jensen at the other end will answer. So 5 from Jensen, 5 from Garcia. Pippi got blocked on that shot, got his own rebound, now kicks to Elijah Rose. Great job to pick him out, and the open shot good there. Quick scoring action for both sides so far. Zulu at the other end will knock one down. 7 even through about 43 seconds of action. Garcia, another 3. That's no good. Rebound there to James. Jensen. Wing, pulls up again, knocks it down. Walter Jensen with 7 points to start the game. Covington on the wing, no, that one, no problem. And Zulu at the other end, another bucket. 11-9 through a minute, lots of scoring in this one, and Covington breaks it open again, another three-pointer. Jensen, that time no good. 12-11 Boston at the moment. Garcia, unable to hit on that deep 2. The rebound there out to Jaga. Zane Cruz on a 3, that's good. And he can get going from out there. Boston, Chicago will be in good shape. As Tone Show knocks down that one from the wing, Chicago will call a timeout. 14 even, 3:43 to go here in the first. This is Ren Alex, the former San Francisco guard, knocks down the step-back three-pointer. Beautiful shot there on the jumper. Anthony Flores, the former LA Stars and Arizona 122 Indiana overdrive guard, kicked out to Manu. He missed 3. Rebound goes to Ren Alex. That one no good from James Ridge. Now Flores at the other end will get it to go. Both teams close here in the early stages. 17-16. Alex for 3. Got it again. Boy, Chicago certainly cooking with gas from three-point range right now. They are blocked from Zulu. 2-time reigning defensive player of the year. And it's Alex again. Looks, kicks, finds Zulu. Unable to knock down the mid-range J. Press Manu, corner three-pointer, no good. And rebound to Gozi Nwosu. Alex, will he take the 3 again? Step back, knock down! Alex moves off the bench. 23-16 Chicago, and they are on a 9-0 run. Flores, mid-range, pulls up, can't hit it. Boston in a drought here as we near the halfway point of this first half. Alex, another shot, that time no good. Well defended there by Elijah Rose. Manu, former DC Brigade player, takes a step back and pretty shot there. Had missed his first 2, but he gets that one to go, and Boston stops the bleeding. Zulu with a quick bucket at the other end. He's up to 6 already. Tone Show inside the line, no good. Rebound there to Ridge. Ren Alex again, 11 points from him on the day. Chicago up by 9 still. Manu can't hit the 3. He's 0 of 3 from outside. Samuel James pulls up, knocks it down. We're up to an 11-point lead for Chicago. This one slipping away from Boston quickly. Elijah Rose able to get a nice dunk there on the drive to the rim. At the other end, Zulu, another bucket. 8 points from him, 2 rebounds and 2 blocks. Rose pulls up, knocks it down. He's been playing well. 8 points from him, but the rest of Boston just 14 points collectively. Ren Alex, speaking of playing well, 13 points from him. Elijah Rose gets his 7.7 and 8 there, his 33-24, and Tone Show with a steal for Boston. Press Manu has struggled so far in this game. Gives to Tone Show, he gets it to go. 4 points from him. James, three-pointer, knocks it down. 36-26 as Chicago back up by double digits. Manu out to Anthony Flores. Flores, tough shot blocked by Zulu, and that forces the shot clock violation. Alex, mid-range, now driving on Manu. Under a minute to go here in the first half. Takes a step back and knocks it down. Red Alex, 15 points off the bench. My goodness, is he hot for Chicago today. 38-28 after the Elijah Rose bucket. Samuel James, why not? 13-point lead for Chicago as they crack the 40-point mark here, and there's still 47 seconds to go in this first half. James, mid-range, step back. Still hasn't missed today. 10 points on 4 of 4 shooting. Boston calls timeout. Garcia with 5 points. Step back, tries to make it 8, cannot, and the rebound comes out to Jensen. And this is Jensen. Over to Nwosu. Got it to go. 15-point lead for Chicago, the largest of the game so far. Chicago, since being down 14-16, has gone on a 29-14 run. Garcia missed the layup there, got it to Pippi on the rebound, and then turned the ball over. Zulu with a steal. Chicago clamping up on defense, and James with the 3. 18-point lead. Covington tries to answer back, cannot. And this, the closing shot of the first half. Jensen won't knock it down, but wow, Chicago, after the slower start, comes out and punches Boston in the mouth in the second half of that first half. They lead by 18 at the break. 76.9% shooting from Chicago so far.
Wow, that's very impressive.
To say the least. Salty, 8 of 11 for Chicago from three-point range. Is that the sole reason they're up in this game, or it goes shooting, or have they just been doing everything better than Boston?
Generally say that Chicago has been great on the front line, but they've just been generally outplaying Boston, shooting basically 77 compared to 50, and from downtown to compare to Boston's 22%, along with the fact that they have more boards, more blocks, and basically the same amount of steals and such. They've generally just outplayed Boston altogether.
Joey, you've come back from some games in your past. What does Boston need to do to get back in this game?
Honestly, I see Boston's missing a lot of shots. Shooting a 50 at the half, which is not the worst, of course, but they can shoot better than that. They have a lot of shooters on their team. Definitely, if they can shoot back into the game, they definitely can, of course. It's also rebounding, actually. They are getting a little bit destroyed in the rebounding and defense, actually. Chicago's playing pretty good defense. They just have to play better offense, honestly.
We'll see if they have it in them. Take a quick look at the box score here. Samuel James, 13 points on 5 of 5 shooting for Chicago, turning back the clock. But the real star of the game, leading scorer, is Ren Alex off the bench. Acquired last year from San Francisco. He's put up 15 points, 6 of 7 from the field, 3 of 3 from downtown. And that step-back jumper has been deadly in the first half.
What a monster. Very impressive coming off the bench to do that.
Generally, it looks like a 6-man of the year candidate early on.
Certainly has. Boston has seen a good game from Elijah Rose, who has 12 points on 6 of 7 shooting, but their other starters have combined for just 14 points. That's one more than Samuel James scored on his own, and one less than Ren Alex scored on his own in the first half.
Now, Jesus Garcia, I personally used to play with him. Definitely can do better than that.
Indeed, only 2 of 6 from him in that first half. We'll see if the second half brings more of the same or a bit of a change up in the action as we get started here. Chicago lost the tip, so they get to start this second half, and Jensen immediately stretches the lead to 20 with the step-back jumper. He's had a hot start to the game, but calmed down a bit after that. Only 9 points as Garcia gets stuffed on a shot there. And to see if Samuel James still has the hot hand, and he does not as he misses that one. Jaga with another block, though. 2 possessions in a row he's recorded one. He gets stuffed at the other end by Rose. And now over to Rose they go, and Jaga gets another block. 3 possessions in a row he stuffs a Boston player. Jensen missed on the 3. Rebound came out to Rose. And now Jaga gets another one. 4 blocks in a row. My goodness. Lockdown defense as Jensen hits the bucket. 22-point lead. Just dominant here from Chicago. Now Zulu gets a steal off the offensive rebound. That's Pippi's second turnover of the game. Jensen on a 3. He got it. Book it. A 25-point lead for Chicago. This is getting very ugly.
Oh wow, man. Definitely did not expect this. What a game, especially just for Chicago alone. Boston, I mean, they're there, but even in the home court, this is crazy.
So we see Jaga punch down a dunk and stretch it to 27. Boston will call timeout. Salty, as now Jensen gets a steal, can Boston stop the bleeding here? Or how bad is this going to get? It's up to 29 now.
This is about to get very ugly, very fast. Walter is looking like his prime self with all these shots. Jaga, once again, looking like a DPOI. Shaka is absolutely locking down. It's over. Everyone's packing their bags. There's people leaving the stadium right now. Oh my God.
Crowd emptying out here at the Garden for Boston. The seats are thinning out. 29-point lead for Chicago. Got as large as 32 there. So turn to some other stuff in the league as we watch this game peter itself out. LA advancing to 6-0 with a victory over Chicago last night. Is there anybody in the league that can stop them this year?
I would generally think there's not really a lot of teams that can stop them. Maybe a team that has a defensive guard duo, but yet again, do we really have that anywhere? I really think the Stars are just going to be continuing their reign of terror on the league.
It's difficult to see a team surmount Joseph and Strong in a full series. Joey, being a former All-Star guard yourself, how can you even defend against Strong or Joseph, or do you just have to hope you can play as well as him?
I mean, of course, I've been facing him for a couple seasons now. Personally, every time I face him, it's a nightmare. He shoots a lot, man. And every time I face him, I do tend to go into the locker room angry as hell. I don't know, man. To stop him, you gotta be lucky, because he is a phenomenal shooter.
Strong and Joseph, both a 6- and 7-time All-Stars for years running at this point. Chicago still up by 24 as Lochleven puts in that bucket. Boston will call its final timeout. And Covington misses on a 3. Pippi has yet to hit a shot in this game. He won't hit that one. Grabs his 9th rebound, puts it back up, still can't hit. 0 of 4 from Pippi Big Pippi. And Boston had 3 chances on that trip down the floor, but couldn't hit it. That about summarizes their night. So, coming out of this game, Boston will be 4-3, Chicago up to 5-2. We just talked about, can anybody stop LA? Does this game solidify Chicago's status for either of you guys as real bona fide contenders?
Just say that. They do have proved that they're not as old as they are, but they still really aren't the best to be a contender. I mean, we don't really know a lot about this Boston team. They don't really have a certified superstar, and it's just, I really don't know, man.
The lack of the star may be standing out tonight as Chicago has maintained a 20-plus point advantage here in the second half. Minute 30 left in this game as Samuel James, who has had a fantastic game, knocks down another one. He's got 16. Covington, only 4 of 11 for Boston. And you have to think that if just J.S. was still on this team as he misses another one, slips to 4 and 12, things might be looking a little different tonight.
Absolutely.
This is a slaughterhouse. I mean, coming all the way out here to see this game, I mean, I thought it would definitely be something special. Definitely for Chicago, of course. As I personally have 2 friends on the team, definitely expect them to always do better. And you always gotta expect them to do better.
It's particularly interesting that this is happening in Boston's stadium, too, a place that they have historically defended home court very well. Well, perhaps the lack of superstar power and team identity is behind this. As we see Covington knocked down a corner 3 there, huge 3 to cut the lead to 24 with 40 seconds remaining.
Can't believe 24, man. What a team. It's such a pleasure to see Walter play.
We have been witness to another great performance from Jensen as he dishes that one to James, who's unable to hit it. James has cooled off in the second half, but Jensen, 14 points of his own tonight. He's already racked up 3 Player of the Game awards on the season. He seems, maybe if he's lost a step, it isn't really showing in a lot of his performances so far.
He looks more of just like, of course, with age, You got to slow down eventually.
He barely slowed down tonight as James puts in the final shot of this game. And so that will end it. A 77-56 annihilation for Chicago. End-to-end dominance in this game. Out-rebounded, out-blocked, out-stole, and only one fewer assist for Chicago this season than Boston. They only hit 3 more threes than Boston did. However, they shot 56.9% from the field to Boston's 41.4%. And that about summarizes it. Samuel James earns Player of the Game honors with 20 points and 4 rebounds. But you have to think that the game ball is going to go to Ren Alex, who put up 17 off the bench for the Blues in this one. A 21-point difference shows on the scoreboard. It was as large as 32 at points, and this game was pretty much over by the 2-minute mark, maybe, of the first half. Salty, give us a breakdown of what you saw out there that just made Chicago the far and away better team tonight.
I would have to say that maybe Walter is hiding that fountain of youth somewhere. He looked like his younger self, just absolutely going off. We looked like we were watching an older version of the Chicago, which makes me feel nostalgic of it. Meanwhile, for Boston, I really don't have anything to say about them. However, I want to have to talk to Jason Garcia about that game.
Garcia struggled, and
he's about to hit. He's about to get a long message from me.
As did Jordan Covington, who had a difficult game as well, reminiscent of his days in Vancouver. Joey, so we talked about the importance of Jensen before this game, talked about it a bit during the game. Now afterwards, Chicago looked like they had a leader and floor general out there. Boston didn't. How much of a difference do you think that makes for a team that's trying to contend?
I mean, having a lead player is always important. But sometimes, like in this game, I feel like Boston could have won it. It's very disappointing to see Jason Garcia should be a leader. I believe he is the oldest player on the team, but Pippi as well, actually, because a lot of people tend to talk about Pippi, and he is a phenomenal player. I mean,
First-time All-Star last season.
Yeah, I feel personally that this is just a very disappointing game because they don't need someone to lead them. They need to work as a team. And it seemed that Chicago was working as a team. They were great on defense, beautiful on offense. Boston just did not seem to want it.
And in that vein, it's interesting, difficult to discern from just one game, but interesting question. What do we take away from this for either of these teams? For Chicago, is this, we talked about this a little before, is this a turning point? Are they turning back the clock? Are they true title contenders? And for Boston, is it time to think about selling the house and trading away the franchise mainstays, going full rebuild?
I truly would have to say that Boston would have to start rebuilding this. After losing like this, I truly think it's time to just wipe the board clean and start anew. That stadium was as empty as my high school games.
Nah, I feel like Boston should keep their team. They have great players, strong players. They just need to add maybe a couple more pieces, and they definitely could pull it off.
Interesting analysis from both sides. We'll have to see how things work out in the future because there's plenty of season to go. We do play 45 games in a year, so lots of time for these two to figure it out, or perhaps not figure it out, and we'll have to build off of that from there. So, just before take a quick look at the box scores here. I already mentioned before the game, talked about the importance of benches. Well, for Chicago, they got 17 points out of Ren Alex off the bench, 6 from Gozi Nwosu. 15 of those points from Ren Alex came in the first half. Meanwhile, Boston only got 10 out of Press Manu, and that was on 4 of 12 shooting, 2 of 9 from downtown. Hardly the most efficient scoring. Perhaps that will be where Boston needs to improve if they want to really be contenders in this Eastern Conference.
No, I mean, personally, just from seeing the game, definitely the shooting, and it just doesn't seem like they really wanted it this game. That's how I personally feel about it.
Looking back at my statement saying that Boston still had one of the best benches in the league, I think I might want to take that back now, honestly.
Reasonable take after tonight. So that's going to conclude our coverage for now. One last thing, though, next week's Sunday night showcase, I believe, take a quick look at the schedule, but yes, indeed, going to be a Sunday night showcase as we will see a doubleheader action. Excuse me. First, the LA Stars travel to St. Louis to take on the Archers in our Saturday day game. And then the Sunday night showcase will feature the DC Brigade and a young up-and-coming Eastern Conference team off to a hot start this season as they take on the Western upstart Houston Cosmos. For the St. Louis game, Joey, I know you'll be playing, and we talked about how difficult it is to face off LA. Give me a little preview of that one, though.
You're definitely gonna be catching me in the gym working on my defense because man, guarding Joseph, I'm gonna be tired after that game. And definitely there'll be a destroyed locker room.
Well, we'll see how that one works out. And Salty, for DC and Houston, two very good, very young teams. You've seen a lot of your former college foes, actually, particularly Arlo Joe on that DC team. Who would you pick out of those two as the favorite for that matchup?
Honestly, I'm going with DC. Arlo Joe has always been a bucket. It's always been hard guarding him. It's now harder to even guard him in the big leagues. We shared MVPs. We even once thought about teaming up when I got myself out of Boston College, but he's definitely got game. I appreciate it. And he's definitely one to look out for his DC squad.
Well, that will be interesting stuff when we get to it next week. For now, we'll leave this rather uninteresting game behind us. Final score, Chicago 77, Boston 56. And we'll thank you for joining us here on the Hoops League Association for Hoops League Association Basketball. For all of us here at Hoops League TV, Jay LeBron running college, myself, Cyclops Inc. running the game for Joey B and Salty Shades, and for Quality Game, the creator of Hoop League Tactics. This is Cyclops Inc. wishing you all a wonderful Saturday evening, and we'll see you next week for more Hoops League action.